Popping up here, and one of the things that Boogie's talking about is basically he was pointing out that Dydx back at 2:30, so 3 hours ago, Dydx was in a position catching the C trade, B trade on the Dydx. Might happen sooner. A couple of us are in it now. It's looking to drop 15, right? So as you can see right here, he got 33% on that trade. Other guys did as well. And here's the trade that did really well, which is what I'm about to show you guys, is the Dydx 71%. So that's about where you should be in that section right there. So we're going to go over this and show you like the breakdown of that. We just got Dydx for a D trade, looking for a CB entry on where the 15 trade is, right? Had a lot of value. So let's go take a look at Dydx, guys. And what Boogie was talking about here was, in the beginning, you're looking for the 2-hour breakdown, right? And you can see right here, we can go ahead and put our rectangle. You see the 2-hour crosses right here, right? Beautiful, beautiful 2-hour cross, right? So you can see right here. Remember, the very beginning of any trade is the 2-hour. It lets us know that it's going to start the beginning of some type of, weakness of the trade, right? Especially after a big pump. And right here, you see how the 2-hour RSI crosses right there? So that's letting us know that this is the beginning of a little bit of weakness here. Now we have to determine, just like the fish, right? If you hook this fish, how strong is this fish, right? And we want this fish to get weak. So now the next thing that we want to do is take a look at the 1 hour, because I want to see where the 1 hour moved, right? And that's the 1 hour right here. You can see it drop down. The 1 hour happened after the 2 hour, and we always make that white. So that right there is what we call a trade that would be more like a B or a C trade. I'm going to mark it as a C right now, just to get it started, because the B trade is really when the 4 hour starts to go down as well, right? So this is more of a C trade situation here. And the next thing, now that we got the 1 hour and the 2 hour, what we're looking for is the best trades possible, which is the 4 hour, right? Now we can see here that the 4 hour just crossed over right there. You see that 4 hour cross right there? So now we're going to put this next 4 hour line in here at this level here. Now this is the red line that we have, and that one is we make it a little bit thicker so we can see it, but that is the beginning of what we consider to be B trades, right? So now when we dig into this a little bit deeper, go back down to the 1 hour section, because remember, what we're really waiting on here is for the 1 hour volume to tell us the fish is weak. So think of it like stamina, right? So a lot of people, I play video games, so it would be like if you're fighting a boss and his stamina is still high, meaning he still can hit you with an uppercut, right? So he still has power, right? So we want this fish to kind of lose value. And you can see here, we got teased a little bit on the C trade when it started to come down. Volume hit right here. And what happened was, it still found a little bit of room. Now, a lot of guys, if you went back into the Discord, I can see right here, a lot of guys jumped on that early trade, took their 35% like champions, right? That's what you're supposed to do. You don't lose trades when you take profits, right? Now, as you continue to work this fish over, eventually it gets weaker and weaker, and you're going to see bigger trades. This was a great trade by House Money. Way to go, man. That was fire right there. Because he got the max out of what it was he was getting, and he was moving his profit correctly, and that's the first trade of that, right? So that's kind of like what that was. So we can see right here that this is that trade right here. What that trade is when the 2 hour starts to go down, the 1 hour starts to go down, you have a C trade here, and that actually created an opportunity to snag a solid 70 to 100% gains, which we saw House Money and everybody else do. So that's the best one. Now that is considered a C trade. I don't take that trade. That's more of a small bag trade because it's more of a riskier trade, but it does pay off. So if you have a small bag in there and it doubles up on one trade, I mean, that just means you have more money for the A trade that's coming up. So it's a good trade there. I don't do big bags on that trade because at that point it's still a little bit risky. So now what I'm looking for is the beginning of the B trades, right? Which happens right here. The B trade comes in, and when does the B trade? The B trade is when the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the 3 hour all start to come down. That's the trade that I would be looking for. That's this trade right here. Now that trade ends up being, depending on where you got in, that trade ends up being a 50% win anyway. So without taking the risk on the C trade, we're still able to grab 50% on the trade that we wanted and still make money. Now, the reason why we don't use big bags at that time is because even though the fish right here got tired and we see 2 yellow boxes here, the problem was it continued to bounce. Now, what I recognized, another thing that we can use, and I want to show you guys this, which has been kind of key, is the 3-hour red moon. The 3-hour red moon is going to signify the weakest fish possible, and we don't have that yet. So I expect the 3-hour moon to hit somewhere in this particular area here, and that's where I'm looking for the 3-hour red moon to give us the full out, notification that we are now entering a weak fish or a very weak trade, right? So that's kind of like something that you can use, right? That you can add that to the value of the 1-hour value, right? So what that'll do is that'll give you an extra confirmation that'll solidify how strong a trade is when that 3-hour moon. Right now, we don't have a 3-hour red moon, so that means that we're still dealing with pretty strong fish here. Now, the next trade that we're looking for, once we got this original B trade in, we took our profits, the next trade is working the 1 hour, right? So we're gonna want this 1 hour to bounce, come back up, and then when this 1 hour finishes its next move here and starts to move back up, down, that would give us our second leg of the trade. And what I'm really looking for here is for that 3-hour moon to come in and be very profitable and get us in. So this is where, we always know the entry when you're watching the 15 minutes. So here's your C trade. You got an entry. You know that you're going to enter when the 15-minute volume goes below the 5 line. You see the 5 line right there? See how the volume went below that? See how that there? That's your entry right there. So the guys who got that first trade entered right here when it broke down, and they were able to take advantage of that solid move there, which is literally 50 to 80%, right? That's the first move. Now, trade bounces up. It's starting to reformat here. It isn't fully settled, but like I said, the next move for this trade is I want to see the 1 hour push its way back up, find its top, and then start to head down. But what I'm really looking for here is the 3-hour red moon to signify complete weakness of this trade. So that's my next banger right there. That's what I want to see, and that's where I'll be entering the big bag. You can take another B trade here and take advantage of the 1 hour bouncing coming down and get another scalp trade there with a small bag, but the big bag goes in when the 3-hour red moon comes in. That's where I would enter this trade. So that is what I'm looking